So today I am going to talk to you about marketing during a recession. I was walking around and talking to some of you, and a lot of the concerns are really around what do you do when leadership is saying, hey, you should cut budgets. So let's talk through some of that today. You already know about Branch, but I think you've seen the slide many times, but here we are today. We are mobile linking and mobile measurement platform. And we're a global team. A lot of employees raised a bunch of money. About me, I am originally from Romania, and I studied engineering. So I'm an engineer by training, and I built an app with my co-founders, same co-founders that we started Branch with, and really kind of found the challenges in linking and attribution, and started Branch 8.5 years ago. Also pretty passionate about growth, organic user acquisition, and I taught a course on this at Stanford during COVID, which was a lot of work, so I did not do it again. Okay, what does a downturn mean for marketing? Well, it means that in many cases, people are actually slashing budgets. And I think that can be quite challenging. And is that really the right thing to do? So I think you can see a lot of revisions, and where those revisions are, marketing research and events are getting cut a lot. And overall, we're seeing a decline even through 2021, and I think we're starting to see that even lower through this year. And I went and started doing research and asking myself and trying to understand, this is not the first recession. There have been other recessions. And does it make sense to go and cut your marketing budget? Is that the right thing to do? Well, I found a study that looked at 1,000 companies. And these 1,000 companies, they bucketed them, and this was the last recession in the 2000s. And they bucketed them in companies that slashed budgets, companies that kept budgets the same, and companies that increased budgets. And then after the recession was over, this study looked at, did their market penetration increase, decrease, stay the same? And what you see, probably kind of expected, is that the ones that decreased spend actually had a long-term decrease in market share. The ones that actually kept the spend flat, so an increase in market share, and the ones that were able to increase spend actually saw a really big increase in market share. And these are very large companies where these percentages actually make a lot of sense. So I guess if your marketing leader or if your leader of your company might come and say, hey, we need to decrease budget, I think actually instead of saying, yes, we will decrease the budget, it's good to actually think about what are the things you can say and how you can actually talk about increasing your ROI and not decreasing the marketing budget. This might not actually be the right time to do that. So instead of cutting marketing budgets, let's refocus your investments on things that actually bring the highest ROI for your business, and figure out the way that you can at least keep the budget flat if you can't increase it, but actually get more out of it. So we'll talk through some of those things in the presentation today. So I'll walk through 4 different things. One is how do you double down on ROI, then rethinking segmentation and incentives, focusing on customer experience, and then move to more sustainable channels. So let's talk about ROI. I'm going to go back to something that Alex said in his presentation earlier. When you think about your 2 levers, they are actually increasing revenue or decreasing costs. And if you think about how does mobile play in increasing revenue, it really is around higher conversion rates, additional product views, and a higher lifetime value. So because if you compound all of those together, mobile app users are a lot more valuable to our business. They convert better, they buy more, they come back more. So it makes sense to actually invest in converting your other users into app users. But in addition to that, if you actually have a mobile app, in many industries, you can actually really decrease cost as well, right? So if people are going to customer support in the app instead of calling someone, they might get a much faster response and it costs you less. You might mean that if you're a bank, for example, you need less physical locations because people do more of the things that they need to do in the app instead of actually having to to talk to someone in person. And it might even mean less in-store inventories. Many stores now, instead of you can go and try something on, and if you don't have the right color or even the right size, they have a QR code. You go and you can order that online. So it's less cost for you in what you have to have in each store. So we talk about these two, increasing revenue, decreasing cost all through the app. And what are the levers and how can you actually do that better? At Branch, when we work with customers, we have these 4 value props, and we help with each of those in different ways. So, we can help acquire users more cost effectively, either through your ads or through organic channels, drive in-app engagement by bringing people back into the app and giving them the perfect experience, no drop-offs. We also help increase conversion rates, and then we eliminate attribution blind spots through our MMP offering. So if we go back to ROI, right, we talked about how important it is to think about ROI, but how do you actually make sure that you measure that properly? So I think, Alex was talking earlier about how it used to be before and some of the changes that we're seeing in the ecosystem. When the mobile started, it was like a lot of ads were all gaming, and MMPs kind of came to be, and it was really all about, how much you have, that come from ads, and then how much comes from your organic. And the rest was kind of unknown. As we started going cross-platform and we started acquiring people from all those channels in Alex's slides earlier, it's very important to have a platform that actually helps you understand how much comes from ads and how much comes from each other channel, so you can compare and decide where it makes sense to invest both your money and the time of your team. And when you actually get that holistic view, you will find really interesting things. You might find that this is a study that we did a while back on click-through install rate depending on the channel that someone comes from. And we saw that actually it is much lower from ads versus email or smart banner on the website or even referrals. Referrals had the highest click-to install on the links. Similarly, when you look at things across different channels and you compare paid with your other channels, you might see that your retention over time actually is different depending by channel. Again, I think here your smart banners here had the highest retention over time versus referrals is lower and ads is the lowest. And you can even do something like cohort analysis. You can actually put things into cohorts, and at Branch, we actually have a tool that helps you do that. And you can see over time how are the users that you acquired through a Facebook campaign versus who came from a banner versus who came from referrals are engaging, coming back in your app. And I really understand which one brings the best ROI. So if we go and we look about, when you talk about the importance to mobile, and we go to your leadership and talk about, what's the most important and why is investing in mobile important, especially during a recession, what most people focus are cost per paid ads and maybe return on ad spend. But I'm here to kind of challenge you to think a little bit beyond that, and maybe some of you already do. But what are other savings and other ways that you can look at that value? It might be that reducing the cost to serve by $20 per person per year is one way of adding value through the app, and that's in addition to that. It might be that the app user has an amount of incremental revenue, and you can calculate that for your company and then say, well, every time we get a mobile user, we get this much more revenue per user, so it makes sense to invest in this. Or it might be that there's actually strategic value of higher app adoption. It might be because they're there, they have more visibility, they're more likely to share. Maybe app users are more viral than other users that don't have the app, for example. I think that's up to you to actually understand what that value is and promote it as you think about the budget. So, when you think about this value, unlocking additional value by focusing on ROI means that you can actually not just look about driving measurement and adoption, but really improving the performance inside your app and really tying the money that you spend or the time that you spend in your marketing team to that additional value and making the case to actually continue spending. Okay, so we've talked about ROI. The other really interesting thing that I did when I started really understanding how people act during a recession was really understanding consumer psychology and behavior. Do they act the same during a recession, or do things actually change? And actually, there's a lot of studies that show that during a recession, instead of thinking about your personas that you already have, you have to start really thinking about personas slightly differently. Consumers start really changing their behavior based on their income. And we have 4 categories here. We have the slam on the brakes. These are people who become kind of quite freaked out. They don't have strong financial means. The pain by patient. These are customers who are continuing to spend, but they are very worried and they decrease their spend. And they feel worried about the future, and they are worried about making big purchases. You have the comfortably well-off who don't care that much about the recession. And then the live for today, usually the younger generation that doesn't necessarily have a family, who in some cases really doesn't act like there is a recession, but still doesn't have enough disposable income. So you have to treat them very differently. So when you think about like the segmentation of your customers, actually starting to add this layer to your segmentation can really help you understand how to look at your products. And then you can actually take your products and figure out in which area of product they are. They could be an essential, they could be something that people really need, they could be a postponable, something that people like enjoy and they know that they need, but they don't need it right away. Treats, something they don't really need, but they really love and make them happy. Or expendables like trips and things that they don't need actually at all. And then you can start building matrices to start understanding how you can deal with each of these. So I only have the matrix for the slam of the brakes, but if you, at the end of this presentation, I will have a QR code. You can download the slides, and I actually have each of the type of customer mapped. So if you look at someone like the slam on the brakes one, their behavior will be different. For essentials, will actually continue buying. You have it green right there, but you can really like emphasize pricing here, discounts. They will care a lot about that. When you think about something like treats, they will reduce this and eliminate that and look for lower cost substitutes. So if you start shrinking the sizes of the products that you offer, hold prices down, advertise something like as you deserve this after it's a hard time, you deserve a treat. Postponables will be put off by this particular category, but you can offer layaway plans, promote exceptional deals, or even challenge penny-wise and pound-foolish behaviors. I think that's up to you if you want to, if you think that makes sense with your customers. And expendables can be eliminated, but it makes sense to continue promoting those for awareness, because after the recession, you can help. If you're still top of mind, maybe you'll be the thing that they actually think about buying once they get a new job or the economy starts changing. So I think when you think about what can you do, for these, we talked a lot about in a recession kind of offering promotions. People are more, they like promotions more, and they're more likely to actually click on more promotion during a time when they feel financially constrained. And these are just some examples of companies who do this well. Smart banners and emails are a great way to promote promotions, and deep linking to the right content always makes the experience better. This is an example of the Great Outdoors. If you come from an email and you go to their website, they actually show you a banner that says, get 20% off, but they have, it's only, if they have this thing where it says hurry, you can get extra 5% if you do it by this particular day. So they really try to incentivize you to move fast. And then they deep link to the same promotion if you go from that link on, from email, it's the link that takes you to the website to same promotion and then to the app. Another one that I really like is KFC, $10 for 10 tenders, but only available in the app. And you can give me 10, but you have to actually go into the app to actually do that. So it incentivizes people to download the app for this like really good promotion. Similar with Burger King, So they actually target users who haven't engaged in a while. And if they haven't used the app in 90 days or more, they're targeting them with a promotion that only applies to those users, and then link deep links to that promotion. But it's not something that they show to users that go into the app all the time. I think these are part of the how you can think about like making more money and decreasing cost is actually thinking about your journeys and conversions. So if you can actually think about the way that you can incentivize users to come to the right content, there's nothing worse than actually they click on something and you're not actually taken to the right piece of content. So some examples of how to do this actually well. We have an example here from Pandora. If you see, if you have an influencer that shares the playlist, you make sure that actually, we can help you make sure that as they go through install, first they see a promo and a preview of what they're going to get, then they go to the App Store, and then they can stay to the playlist. And Spotify is a similar example. This was a very proud moment for me to see Obama share a branch link, and that deep links to the podcast. I think we were talking about earlier, and people ask a lot. I think one question that came in my roundtable is, if someone doesn't have the app, should you take someone directly to the install, to the App Store, and ask them to install, or you should take them to a promo first, to a website? I think it does depend on the awareness and how well people know your brand and your app. But I think it can be very harsh for someone to be taken directly to the App Store. I think in this case, Pandora uses an app preview that branch helps generate, so you can actually see a preview of what you're going to get in the app before you're taken to the App Store to help decrease the drop-off rates. And that's something you can do with the web as well. You could take them first to your website and then show a banner to actually make sure that they don't have the jarring experience. They click on a promotion in an ad or on social, and then they're taken straight to the App Store. I think kind of like showing them, giving them breadcrumbs along the way can really help. And this is something that we've tested and see that works really well. So, I think this is where Branch comes in. We don't just help with the paid side of things, we also help with the organic. And if you use a platform that is both a mobile measurement platform, mobile linking platform, together, you can actually kind of compare your earned and organic channels with your paid ones and really understand where it makes sense to invest. And also give a very cohesive journey to the user. And lastly, I think this is a really interesting one. Alex kind of talked a little bit about it in his talk earlier. When it comes to recession, when it comes to investing, and you have maybe less paid budgets, investing in organic actually makes a lot of sense. One is obviously, you need less money, but you still need people to build this. But I think the more important one is when you invest in organic, it does last. It lasts a longer time. And if you build a really good referral product, if you really build really good SEO and you take people then to the app, this actually is something that's going to help not this year, not next year, but for many years. At Branch, there is an article that my co-founder wrote on how to implement app links, I think 6 years ago, 5 years ago. And I was with someone last night at dinner, and they're like, yeah, I remember I looked this up on the web, and I found his article. So that one article that he wrote still gets us customers today. So when you think about organic, what are some things to consider? Well, one is, users to use the sharing and referrals. Referrals, people think in many ways is just a way to get users to a new app, but actually can be a really good way to re-engage users. So we actually did an analysis of all the referral links done through Branch, and we actually found that 40% of them were actually sent to people who already had the app and were app opens. So when someone shares a referral to something with a friend, it doesn't necessarily mean a new users, but it might mean someone re-engaging with your app and buying and converting. And when you think about some of these organic tips and best practices, I think there are some. So first is incentives that do work. So we did another analysis. This is also my co-founder, Alex. He looked at links that were incentivized, because with Branch, you can add an incentive to a link, and links that are just shared links without an incentive. And he tried to actually look the share completion conversion rate. And you can see that the non-incentivized links have a much lower, they're in a lower converting bucket, they're kind of around 30%, versus the share completion conversion rate of links that were incentivized was much higher. And we were talking earlier about, at our organic referrals virality table, what makes a good incentive. And research actually shows that when you think about a good incentive, it's actually better to incentivize the person who receives the link than the person who's sharing. I think we all like to believe that we like giving more than doing things for just our own benefit. So when we feel like we're giving something special to a friend through a link, we're more likely to actually share that link versus us just getting benefit. And links where only the person sharing benefits are actually the least shared. Obviously, double-sided incentives are best, but when the incentive of the person receiving the link is much higher, the links are more likely to be shared. The other one is to make your content engaging. I know we just heard from Stava, and I think they do such an amazing job. We were talking about earlier, they have sharing in so many places inside the app, and it does allow users to customize sharing by using their own header image and sending through SMS, and they do such a good job of making their content and every share that they have extremely engaging. Making it really easy. This is an example of Robinhood, who really makes it easy for people to share the app, and someone gets a free stock if they install Robinhood app, and then they also give a free stock to the person who invites. So both parties are incentivized. And making it relevant. This is an example of Yelp. I love this example. This is between me and Alex. We're having lunch. And we're trying to get in line at a place in Palo Alto. And if you join the waitlist, you can actually add people to the waitlist. And if they come from that link, they download Yelp, and then they're added to the waitlist with you. So it's really relevant to the thing that they're trying to do right then. They try to understand when their spot is coming up, so they can actually join the dinner or lunch table with their friends. And obviously, make sharing personalized. This is an example of our banners, and we did another analysis of all our different banners, and we looked at our customers and how much they were customizing. So we have like the static baseline, people who just use one banner everywhere, minimal to low, they have maybe 2 or 3 banners, and then people who went and did a lot of customization. They would show different banners. If someone was very engaged, they would show a full banner versus they weren't. If they came from SEO, they show something small. And they actually saw a click-to-install ratio of 5.4% from those banners versus 0.8. So I think Alex shows similar numbers, but very high engagement if something is personalized to your behavior, your country, how engaged you are. Okay, to recap, as you think into a recession, really double down on your ROI. And really think about how you can show value to leadership to help them make the right decision to increase your budgets. Rethink segmentations and incentives, and don't think about personas the way you have before. Behavior does change significantly into a recession. Refocus on customer experience and customer journeys and make sure they're seamless. We can help with that. And then move to sustainable channels like SEO, organic, user-to-user, and beyond. And this is a QR code for all the slides. And thank you. That was it.